Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at a situation that has been going viral over on TikTok, and even now it's starting to get picked up, at least here by Business Insider, like we'll be taking a look at here today. But obviously over the last few years, things like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub have started popping up and becoming extremely popular pretty much everywhere, right? Like, I'm pretty certain most of you watching this video know what DoorDash is. Maybe you even personally use DoorDash, right? Well, here in the US, obviously, these kinds of things have become super popular, and one thing about these, like apps and whatnot, like DoorDash, is the driver or the delivery person who picks up your order is oftentimes tipped. You tip them pretty much right through the app. Like on DoorDash, I know it just kind of like does it at checkout or whatever. It gives you like a couple little options that you can pick from like low to high, or you can go to other and put 0 or however much you want to tip. It doesn't really matter, but these things have become pretty common. But this video we're going to be taking a look at, slash article we're going to be taking a look at here today, is wild for all the wrong reasons in reality, man. Now, I know that DoorDash drivers, most of them are pretty appreciative for the opportunity, right? Like, I know a lot of people who have done DoorDash and they've enjoyed it for the most part. It seems like, you know, it's not one of those things that you probably want to depend on for like an actual living, right? Like, it doesn't usually bode well probably if you're trying to like feed your family off of DoorDash, especially if only like one person's doing it. But for some people, as like a side hustle or whatever, it actually can turn out to be pretty decent. But what we're going to be taking a look at here today is a DoorDash driver who's gone viral for basically cussing at a customer and just more or less making a complete ass out of himself because he didn't really appreciate the tip that he got. Now, most people obviously know, right? Like, if you're in a position where like it's this big of a deal whether or not you get good tips, you probably shouldn't really be in this career field. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. If like you're really worried about not making enough money on tips off DoorDash, you might want to consider hitting the oil fields or like going and working in a factory or something, because if this is like end all be all for you, it's looking kind of rough, man. I'm not gonna lie. So we really, before we even go any further, I should probably explain a little bit like how tipping culture here in the US works, because I know the majority of you, like, you already live here in the US, but there's also a lot of viewers who like live in other countries around the world, like in Europe and Asia and Africa and whatnot, where like tipping isn't really customary. Like, it's not really something that they do there. And so to them, like, it's kind of just a complete foreign concept, right? So here in the United States, tipping is like very common, right? And basically what it is like, you know, you go to a restaurant, you have the server who like brings you your food and fills your drinks and whatnot, right? At the end of the meal, it's pretty much like, it's not required, but it's pretty much socially expected that if they at least did a decent job or whatnot, that you tip them pretty much like anywhere from 10 to 20%. 20% is pretty standard. That's how I was taught to tip. If they go like above and beyond and like do pretty good, you can tip over. If they do bad, you can tip under. At least that's how I've always done it. So 20% is like a pretty decent tip, right? And this is actually, funny enough, all over a 25% tip. So this is actually like a higher than average, pretty good tip in comparison to like what's usually done here, right? So that's what's pretty funny about this whole thing. It's actually over a pretty decent tip. So
Hello.
Come here, Max. 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 Go.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just want to say it's a nice house for a $5 tip.
You're welcome.
Fuck you.
alright, so that is the video of this entire exchange, and now the DoorDash driver just kind of like walks the food up, gives it to the person, then like, you know, oh, it's a nice house for a $5 tip, right? Like, just a completely unnecessary comment, and just, it was so passive aggressive, it didn't really do anything, right? So I guess like his point here is that because they had a nice house, that means that they had like good money and they could have tipped this guy more. Now, don't get me wrong, I respect people in the service industry. I've worked in fast food myself. I understand, you know, these jobs are a lot tougher than people will give people credit for, right? Like being a DoorDash driver, right? Like you're in your car however many hours a day, running food up to people's door, going across town, you know, gotta constantly keep your car maintained, you know, I understand that, you know, there's some effort that goes into stuff like this, right? However, that does not give you some inherent excuse to just demand tips, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, I did just say it is pretty much socially expected to tip, and there is very, very few instances in which I personally wouldn't tip somebody, but you should never go into anything like this expecting that you're going to get tips. Because frankly put, some people do not tip. Some people do not, regardless of what it is, they're not going to give a tip. They don't care if they're going to a restaurant, you're serving them food. They don't care if, you know, you're the valet parking their car. It doesn't matter. That just isn't what they do, right? So also, it is not a requirement on an app like DoorDash to give a tip. Like, I know you can go to the other little thing and you can hit $0, right? So it is not required that you tip these people. It is, once again, something you do generously. And I do get it, right? Like, that's how they make their money. So if I ever DoorDash something, I always make sure to tip pretty well. But for instance, this is just not how you treat any of these kinds of interactions, right? If you really felt that you were cheated out of more money than you deserved, I mean, find another job. I hate to say it because, like, that's not always the answer, but, like, this is just one of those things that, like, anybody really can do it. Like, the entry to getting a DoorDash, you know, ability is just downloading an app and, like, passing their little background check or whatever, right? And, like, having a car. That's pretty much it, right? It's not like this is fucking SEAL Team 6 or, like, you're a neurosurgeon or something, right? If you're not making enough money off tips on DoorDash, then go get a job at fucking some factory or something. I don't know, like, I just, as a man, that's what I think, right? Like, for me, I was raised to the mentality of, like, if I'm not making enough money doing this to support myself, I need to figure something out. And I need to either go find a different job that pays more, or I need to go to school or like something and try and get an education. Even if it's trade school, like, you gotta figure out a way to pay your fucking bills. Like, you're an adult, you know what I mean? No one owes you anything, regardless of whether or not DoorDash is expected to tip. You're not owed anything. And honestly, things like DoorDash should have an option to remove the tip, because this is a perfect situation in which someone would deserve to have that tip taken from them. So, and I'm gonna be frank with you, man. I'm gonna be really honest with you, okay? This guy, like, we saw the video. He delivered what? Like, one fucking pizza and like a thing of breadsticks, right? Like, he delivered, according to what we're taking a look at here, a $20 order, okay? So it wasn't like he fucking was juggling 8 pizza pies in each hand with orders of breadsticks fucking cartoonishly stacked on top of them, while he was also balancing his weight on a ball rolling up to the fucking front porch, right? He walked a, like, large Pizza Hut pepperoni pizza up to a door 20 yards from his car, rang a doorbell, and said, "Hey, here's your order. Have a nice day." Honestly, man, $5? That's not the worst, dude. I've seen pizza delivery drivers deliver like $80 orders and get like $2. You know what I mean? You can genuinely do far worse in the tipping industry, bro. Like, a 25% tip, like I said, is a good tip. Like, that is a decent amount of money to make on anything, right? In terms of a tip. So to be acting like that's not good enough is fucking insane, bro. Like, oh, you're better than $5, dude? You're better than that $5? You're the one doing DoorDash. Let's just call it what it is. You're the one doing DoorDash, but you're better than that $5? Okay, then like I said, go hit the fucking oil fields, bro. Something, you know what I mean? Like, go fucking start driving trucks across the country. I don't know, bro. Like, it's a million ways out here to make money. You're doing DoorDash complaining about tips. So Percival claimed in the comments section that she contacted DoorDash and the driver has since been fired. A spokesperson for DoorDash confirmed this in a statement to Insider, quote, "Respectfully asking for a tip is acceptable, but abusing or harassing someone is never acceptable," the spokesperson said, adding, quote, "Our rules exist to help ensure everyone who uses our platform, Dashers, customers, merchants, have a safe and enjoyable experience." In another post of the same clip, Percival asked, quote, "So how much should I be tipping for a $20 pie?" Tipping culture in the US has become a hot topic on TikTok in recent months. While some users say it's too extreme, others have defended service industry workers who often rely on tips because of low wages. Some businesses still pay workers a, quote, tipped wage, which is a lower minimum wage that takes into account the tips. So in May, Insider's Alex Bitter reported that some DoorDash drivers were accepting orders and then asking for extra tips before delivering items. One worker told Bitter that this has become some Dashers are receiving a base pay of as little as $2.75 per order without tips. The company told Insider that Dashers make, on average, $25 an hour. So, you know, oh, they make a base pay of as little as $2.75 per order without tips. Okay, so let's assume that this guy got that $2.75 minimum or whatever, right? And then on top of that got a $5 tip for a $20 order he then made $7.75. That is pretty decent. I mean, let's just call it what it is, bro. bro. Like, I remember my first job, right, when I was making pizza at Little Caesars. I was making like $8.25 an hour, dude. I was still in high school and everything, of course, so like it wasn't make or break for me, but $8.25 an hour is what I was making for, you know, working in the pizza place. But people are complaining for getting essentially the same amount of money and possibly more depending on how much that like base order shit was to just simply drive it to a house. Like, I feel like this guy in particular is one of those people, he probably never really had like a real job, maybe. Like, he never worked before he did DoorDash or anything, so like maybe he's a little more entitled than he should be. He kind of expects a little more out of it than he should get. Like, honestly, that's just a problem that a lot of people have now. Like, they really just think that they should make like fucking $55 an hour DoorDashing. And like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm all for like a livable wage. I'm all for people being able to pay their bills, but DoorDashing is just not one of those things you're supposed to feed your family on, bro. It's like a side hustle kind of thing. This is like people trying to pay their fucking bills like by doing online surveys and stuff, man. Like, at a certain point, if it's not making you enough money to do like what you need it to do, you need to find another job. And people are, oh, well, I can't get hired anywhere else. Of course, it depends on where you live, but job availability, it of course is something that's flexible. Like I said, depending on where you live and like what you know. I feel like a lot of people who are like this guy here just like, oh, expect to just be like, what did he expect? Fucking $10 on a $20 pizza? $15 on a $20 pizza? Get serious, bro. But he like expects that kind of money, and for what? It's because, I mean, like I said, some people have never really actually done a job where it's like, holy fuck, what exactly is going on here? This is shitty, I'm not getting paid enough. DoorDash is not one of those things you should be trying to fucking make ends meet on. It should be your side hustle that you do after you work your normal job. I mean, some people can make DoorDash work for them. I will say there are people out there who make a crazy bag off of DoorDash and they can pay their bills, but like, not everybody can do that. I'm sorry, man. Like, not everybody can fucking DoorDash McDonald's to people's doors and make $40 an hour. Like, that'd be an awesome world if we could, right? Like, that'd be a beautiful place to live, but that's just not reality, man. Like, I'm gonna need you to fucking join us back down here real quick, bro. But for instance, just to kind of end this video on a little bit of like a personal anecdote, I guess, right? Just the other day, you know, I was working on videos and stuff, so I needed a couple things from the store, so I ordered like 6 or 7 things from the store, had it DoorDashed or whatever. Now, the tip was already pretty decent, right? But the dude was pretty communicative, right? So there was a few things that like weren't in stock or whatever. And so like he messaged me and he was really polite about it and whatnot, and he got the substitutions or whatever. So on top of already tipping him, I then added a few extra bucks onto the tip, just because like if you're gonna go like above and beyond and you're gonna like do the job well, you deserve to be tipped more, in my opinion. Some people aren't like that, that's fine, but you have to actually earn extra tip for me, right? Like, you have to actually earn getting that money. I feel like that's the way it should be, right? I know some people, they just think just because they DoorDash, they should automatically get tipped. I don't know, man. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about this entitled DoorDash driver and signing out.